Hi everyone, my name is Aimee and I am the founder of Odd Muse, and this episode today of Pod Muse we are joined by Ben Gallagher.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. I just want to, before we start, I just want to say that Ben and his brother Joe are two of the nicest people I have met in industry, and I'm sure Ben can agree that fashion can be very fickle. You meet a lot of people, there's a lot of networking, there's a lot of events. You don't make many long-standing friends. And I also feel like as founders, we don't make the same like work friends that people who work in like typical offices make. Does that make sense?
For sure, yeah.
And I don't know, I just feel like I've made some real long-standing friends in Ben and Joe. My mum and dad always ask me about you.
It's coming up 2 years now.
Josh needs a paddle rematch. And yeah, you don't meet that many people in industry like that. And I just wanted to start with that because I just want everyone to know just how genuine and hardworking both Ben and Joe are.
Yeah, because we first met in person with the pop-up shop that we did in July.
But
so it's about 2 years.
We'd spoke quite back and forth online, just found things like, where'd you get your desks from? Like just random questions.
I think the first message I sent to you was you were trying to decide between a Bottega Veneta Jodie, which colour to get.
Yeah.
Or I said to you, like, oh, you're brave going for the white one.
Yeah. But yeah, we kind of like started, where's my notes gone? I'd say we were like online friends, and then we met at your pop-up shop.
Yeah.
And then fashion show. Mm-hmm. That was actually where when I say fashion is fickle, I did this big show in London, and pretty much after the show, everyone left, and it was just my family and Lux Collective and obviously the Odd Muse team. And by the end of the night, we were sharing like 60 pizzas between us all because everyone had left. You actually went to go interview Jared Leto and then come back.
Yeah, that was
which was
half
insane.
An hour with Jared Leto and then back to the show.
That was insane. And I just, in that moment, really appreciated you guys being there because it was a lot to be there. You was interviewing quite a few people during Fashion Week.
No, not at all. It was amazing to be a part of it. 'Cause it was like you said, it was your first ever show, right?
Yeah.
And I know how much it meant to you because even the whole, like every time me and Joe walk past it in London now, we always go, that's where we went for Amy's show. Because it was your first shoot or something in there as well, wasn't it? Like that venue meant a lot to you, right?
Yeah.
But like you said, we met your family. That was where we started the relationship with Josh as well.
Yeah. But yeah, the fashion show was such a moment. I've got on my notes here about when you opened the pop-up store and all the girls were in the jumpsuits.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah.
But I want to talk a little bit about Lux Collective and sort of like the beginning stages. Give me a whistle-stop tour of Lux Collective.
Yeah.
If you can.
Yeah, for sure. So, like, we're obviously in a really crazy moment right now.
Yeah.
So, like, speaking about it as in, like, the past is really strange, you know? But basically, so we started the brand in 2018. So I was 18.
That's another thing I don't think people know about you. Like, you're so young.
Yeah. I don't look
we both are.
Every time I'm with my brother and someone mistakes me for being older, my brother's just like, yeah, he just had a rough paper round. But no, I think, like, and that's why I'm so grateful for the journey that it's been, because like I'm still so young and I've still been through so much, you know what I mean? So it started when I was 18. We did it for 2 years, like out of a bedroom. Then we finally got a premises. It was really slow to start off with, to be honest, and the business model's so tough when you don't have a lot of money. So basically we we bought and sold pre-loved luxury goods. And so we buy them, clean them up, sell them on. Yeah. And we just bootstrapped it. So that means taking no investment. And we did it over and over and over and over until we could finally hire our first person. And then we did that over and over again. And then we just grew it as big as we could, as fast as we could, which was just an amazing journey, especially to do it with your brother, you know?
Yeah.
And then, we in total, I think we did over the 7 years, around 35 million.
That's amazing.
For a bootstrapped company, which it's like yourself, you know how tough it is in the early stages.
It's tough in the early stages, but it's never not tough.
Yeah, it's just different of tough, right?
Yeah, the problems just get bigger, and it's never not tough. But yeah, those early stages where you're just kind of like wanting it to grow so much and just doing everything and putting your time in there, they are so difficult.
Yeah, for sure. And we went on Dragon's Den in 2023, which was again an amazing experience, and managed to get close with Stephen Bartlett, which is again is an amazing achievement. And then we moved into a big fancy new unit, and then our peak year was 2024, where we did about £10 million in revenue. But we in our final year, we had a break-in. We also came across some issues which really kind of exploited the fickleness of the business, of how tough it was. But we learned so much in that final year especially. But yeah, we closed the company this year, which I'm sure we'll get into. But the journey from since we started to when it ended has just been just a joy.
And think at like both yours and Joe's ages, like how much experience you have.
Yeah, for sure.
Like £30 million in sales.
But also, like, I agree with like the revenue numbers and that. Like, it's amazing to be able to speak with them, but like, or talk about them. But a lot of the time I talk about this when people are saying like, oh, like it's amazing the experiences you've gone through, but I'm sad about all that sort of stuff. But when I talk to them and I'm like, well, I was 24 years old and I had to stand up in front of 30 people to tell them the jobs are no longer like that is character development that you would get nowhere else 100%. Unless you had to do that. Like I was forced into that situation.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But like people are like, oh, it must be so difficult, and yeah, it is. But it's also like you would get that experience nowhere else. Like if you're working in a corporate job or you're working in a startup, you're not going to be told to stand up in a room full of 30 people
and
to
that
tell
just
them
like
bad news like that.
defines the responsibility that comes with owning a business at whatever age you are. Like it doesn't matter how many years of experience you have. If you're in that situation and it's your business, it's your responsibility. You could be 18, you could be 24 years old, you could be 50 years old. It has no age, but it has all the responsibility.
And I also think no matter how old you are and how many times you've done it in the past, that situation it's never easy, you know?
It's never, ever going to be easy. What were like three, we will move on to that, but in the journey of Lux Collective, what was maybe like three most key defining moments?
I think being an early mover on social media, but like we and like you forget all this stuff because the last 12 months or 18 months were so hard. It's like we were such a pioneer in the social media space, right?
Absolutely.
Like you
inspired so many like fashion businesses to get on TikTok. You definitely inspired Odd Muse to get on TikTok.
Well, that's good to hear.
We definitely started taking it more seriously. Like before, we just kind of downloaded it and would do like dancing trends. And I feel like you really led that movement of people want to come to TikTok and learn, and it's interesting and kind of like longer form content on TikTok. For sure.
I think we pioneered like businesses being educational on TikTok, right? So we would do stories, we would do behind the scenes sometimes. So we went on TikTok in 2019. So like for people who don't understand how long ago that is, that was before COVID. Before
that's
lockdown.
Crazy because I even remember thinking about using TikTok in 2021 for Odd Muse, and I was just like, it's just this app where people are dancing. I don't know how to like integrate Odd Muse onto this, and then I landed on Lux Collective. It was
but it just made so much sense to us because of the nature of our business as well. So like because we knew we couldn't sell thousands of units of one product because we didn't have access to the supply of them, we were like, okay, we have to keep people engaged in the brand somehow. So let's turn it into an educational piece, into more of I always used to say this, like we're a media company that happens to sell pre-loved luxury goods. As time went on and pressures on sales got more evident, we had to change the strategy slightly, or a lot, but that still didn't change. Like we really pioneered socials for fashion businesses in probably 2019 to 2022.
Absolutely.
Another defining moment is probably doing it with my brother. Right. So like it made, and I always say this to people who have businesses on their own, like you, it's like you are so strong to be able to do it on your own. Like whenever something bad happens, me and Joe would fight it out, shout it out, work it out. We would come across problems together. Like everything is always shared. Like the pressures were shared, the responsibilities were shared. And that makes things so much easier. Whereas
you guys, they obviously would ask about going into business with family and if that's a good idea, but you and Joe have such a good balance between you guys. Like you're both so different and you both bring different things.
Yeah, so Joe is very like, so Joe on the side of the business is like managing director type. So we'll do finance, operations, HR, a lot of stuff like that. And then I'm like, and he's like so disciplined, so consistent, really routine orientated. Like if you knock him off routine, he's like crazy. So like for the past, God knows how long, get up, go to the gym, walk the dogs, get into the office, fast until 12, train after work, and then go home and then go to bed, and he's in bed by 9 o'clock. Like he's so disciplined like that, and I'm like the other way around. It's like I've tried to do all the discipline stuff like him of getting up, going to the gym, and I can do it for a period of time, but like I don't know how we can do it so consistently. It's honestly amazing in that respect. And then I'm like the more creative, the more a bit like chaotic, the more a bit like outspoken.
The type B.
Yeah, exactly. So Joe's type A, I'm type B. Exactly. Like he's spreadsheets, I'm like write down on a piece of paper and lose it at 10 seconds later. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, like a huge defining moment was deciding to go into business with him. Yeah. And like even when we're deciding what to do next, it's like we're thinking of each other more than we're thinking of ourselves. You know,
you guys are such a good team. Like what you've built together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have it any other way, right? Like, we started it together. We had the successes together. We had the failures together. So now it's like, let's work out what to do next together.
Do you think you could have gone through what you've gone through recently without him?
No, 100% not. Like, even if it was like a phase on social media where we will be getting a bit of stick, or like he's just like the level head to be like, oh, just ignore it, or let's move. Like it'll be someone else next week, or just stuff like that. Like even like when we went massive, like just stuff like that. Yeah, he would help me get through different things in his own way. But then equally, I would help him be a little bit more flexible and open himself. Like he would never get in front of a camera if it wasn't for me. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like we've done stuff like that together, which I've really pushed him out of his comfort zone. So I imagine he appreciates that from my side. Yeah. But yeah, so going into business with Joe, going onto TikTok. And just being super passionate about it, right? So like, you know, more than anyone, like you can't do something you're not passionate about, because if it's not fun,
people feel that as well.
Yeah, if it's
you can't just be in business to be in business nowadays.
100%.
Like, people won't buy into that,
especially if you're a founder who puts their face out there. Because like you can see if you look back for the past 2 years of our content. Like 2 years ago, I was so energetic. Yeah. I was so happy. I was so passionate about what I was speaking about. But then when things got really hard in the back end of the business, you could tell my energy shift completely. And if you look back at videos, you'll be able to really tell that. You can't quite notice it dramatically, but like there are subtle things where people are like, now it's been pointed out to them, they'll be like, oh yeah, he has, like the energy has changed, the tone has changed. So just being super passionate. And I think the passion for me in the last year or 18 months of my own business dwindled because it got so hard. Yeah. And I think it's just about like managing how, as a founder and as the face of being a face of a company, but a founder face, how you manage when you're going through tough times to still be that founder face, you know? Yeah. And it's super difficult. I don't have the answer, but when we did our announcement and everything like that, there was a lot of people being like, this is the downside of being a founder face. And I want to do a lot of work on how you can improve that sort of thing moving forward, because it is tough when things are going bad.
I know, and people pick up on it, and also people like to make assumptions. Mm-hmm. How was that, like going through that? And
I think you'll relate a lot to this. So like, I was going to mention it before the podcast, but I wanted to make sure
for the podcast.
Yeah, for sure. But I wanted to make sure that like you have we can speak openly about this to other people, because I think it's super important. Yeah. So like when things are going bad internally, but then when stuff either not gets out, but like people start to say bad stuff about you personally or about your business, because it's going bad internally, you actually start to believe what they say. Yeah. Right? So you're like, oh shit, am I a horrible person? Oh, am I rubbish at business? Oh, is my company a scam? And you start to believe all these things because it's not going well. Yeah. Whereas when things are going well, it's so easy to have thick skin, because it's like, oh, they don't know the real thing. Like we did £1 million last quarter. or last month, that like what are they even going on about? How's the company a scam? We're treating thousands of customers amazingly. The reviews are amazing, etc., etc. But when things start to go bad, you have one bad review, or you have one person making a video about you. You actually start to believe it, and
because
it damages your character so much.
And one person will make a video, but because it's in a negative light, it kind of spreads like a virus. And then all of a sudden it's loads of people making videos. Like, I had something recently where someone made a video about us, and I shouldn't have reacted, but I did. It was like my first experience it was my first experience. And I think maybe 40 people made a video about it. We had people go into the store and making TikToks in the changing room to like review the quality, and it was just like the most insane experience.
But when you're the face of your business and you're a founder, although it shouldn't, it really feels personal, right?
Yeah.
Especially
when you've worked so hard. Like, I remember seeing that, and I just got in from maybe like a 12-hour day shooting in Miami. I was so tired. And I just saw this girl basically going on saying that she's just discovered us and we're fast fashion.
Yeah.
And it just felt so bold. It's like, you've admitted that you don't know anything about Odd Muse. You've just been introduced. But then you're making these such bold claims about Odd Muse. So I just felt so protective. And I think, when you work so hard and you also have the responsibility of a business, like you have, like anyone who owns a business, it's such a responsibility. And it just got me, and I reacted.
The reason why it feels personal to business owners as well, though, is because a lot of people on TikTok, especially, Instagram's slightly different, but TikTok especially, they start going for your character, even though they don't know your character. So they'll say something about your character, they'll say something about your appearance, they'll make up a rumour. I think there was a
I had people commenting like, why is this girl shooting for Odd Muse? Like, she's far too ugly to do the shoots. And I was like,
it's crazy, isn't it?
It's just so rude and mean, and like, I feel like I've come out the other side of it, but I am still fascinated by
100%.
Who these people are.
Like, there was a comment on our video, and it was like, this company still owes my husband 80 quid for a plumbing job he did last year for them. And me and Joe were like, our brother-in-law does all our plumbing for us.
Yeah,
and it's like,
people just say anything.
But like, people also believe anything as well. So
negativity wins on TikTok.
Yeah,
and this is why I'm kind of like, I personally am just trying to figure out the best way for me to be on there at the moment. But for Odd Muse, it's just let's just like be like, build that community in the comments and just take no notice of what anyone is saying.
Why do you think negativity wins on an app like TikTok?
Because there's so many unhappy people there.
So true.
So many people who are just, I don't know. That's how I feel about it. Like, all they have is time and a phone. And I don't know, it's kind of this thing where being online and not really having that responsibility of saying something in person, it just gives people a whole new confidence. And people just...
Because I don't know how it affects you when hate happens online, but like, when you go out in public, I got really anxious, or if it happens, I get really anxious, and I'm like, what if someone comes up to me and says something that like they've said on TikTok? But
what do most people come over to you and say?
100% of the time, people come up to me and say something positive.
So that whole I let it take over my life for about 2 weeks, and every time I left the house, someone would come over to me and be like, don't worry about what's going on. Like, we love Odd Muse. I own 10 dresses. I've worn them 100 times. You're doing amazing. No one come over to me to say, like, you know,
you shouldn't be doing your photo shoots. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
So that helps. I never felt anxious going out, because it's like, no one's going to say that, because the people who are saying that don't know Odd Muse. They're not my customers. They don't know me. And it took me a minute to realise that. And I think where I pivoted from that is the first bit of hate was sort of questioning if we're fast fashion, and the team kind of panicked, removed slow fashion from the website. That created a whole new spur on TikTok, because everyone was like, oh, they've removed slow fashion.
Yeah.
So I like challenged everyone and said, no one's taken away from me that I built this brand as a response to fast fashion. And I have loads of customers that say to me, you have changed the way I shop. So I'm not taking that off my website. And then it was all just like claims about my factory. And then this week, I haven't addressed this, and I said it hasn't really spread now. But this week, apparently, a UK founder said that she's used my factory before. She uses the same fabrics as me, but I have apparently blocked her from going to this factory. My factory has basically just said we're at full capacity. We can't take on any clients, but also we're not taking on any clients from this TikTok thing. Like, it feels wrong to them. So yeah, I'm getting hate for that this week, and I'm like, guys, last week you didn't like my factory or my fabrics. Now, it's bad that I'm not letting people use my factory and my fabric.
Yeah.
So what is it?
You can never win, right?
That taught me that it's like, oh, you just have a problem with me or Odd Muse. You
or
don't
your
actually,
success, right? That's what it is.
This is exactly what it was. And I was speaking to my team about this, and I said that I had spent the first 2 years of Odd Muse just doing things for other people, helping my family out. I wanted to get my mum and dad a car. Got my mum and dad a car before I even moved out. Spent the next 2 years wanting to pay off their mortgage, like aggressively ringing my FD, like, when can we do this? When can we do this? 5 years in, this is the first year I've gone to New York. I'm doing something for myself. Yourself. First time I've ever experienced hate. And what does that tell you? Like,
but also,
that's all that is.
We were talking about it before. It's like, you reacting and commenting to those videos adds fuel to the fire.
100%.
And then the second time that it happened, you never responded to it about the factories.
Yeah.
And look what happened.
Yeah.
So like, all it is you just learned that, I just don't need to address this stuff now.
Normalise just being able to learn.
Yeah.
Because like, everyone's like, you need media training, you need PR training. It's like, no one should have to know how to deal with 500 people commenting on their appearance and commenting on their business.
But then other people, those same people would be like, if you were media trained and PR trained and you did do media and PR responses, they would be hating on you for being media and PR trained and not transparent and authentic, right? It's
the weirdest thing, and it is, I feel like it's just, that is what TikTok is now.
I was speaking to someone about this the other day. I was like, if this is going to be what the app relies on for people to come to it and to grow and to be involved in the app, it's like, surely there's going to be a time that if all they're consuming is this stuff, people are just going to be sick of it.
Also, from my point of view, I was just thinking, like, anyone who is that concerned about sustainability, you need to get rid of your phone and get off TikTok.
You know what it is? I mean, so my girlfriend, she's super smart, and we were talking about the subject, and it's like, people come after other people for what they believe in rather than attacking the system. So like, because it's easier to character assassinate, and because it's easier to pick on one individual, they actually don't care that much, because that is doing nothing for the issue that they think it is.
This is exactly what I was speaking about. Like, there's too much conversation, whereas people could just be working together on like a wider movement.
But instead of attacking the system or attacking what they think is wrong with the system, they attack someone who they think is wrong.
Yeah.
For what they believe is true or not.
And it truly just is for views. Like, we get really lovely customers email in like, hey, can you tell me a bit more about this? And we always do. But when people make TikToks, we know their game. And even in everything that happened with us, we had loads of people like putting on their Odd Muse dress and saying how much they love the brand and they don't understand what's going on. All them videos would get 1,000 views.
Yeah.
It was only the videos that had the most negative thing to say that got the views. And I think I just learned so much about TikTok in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And what it kind of means. What was it like before the announcement for you?
So obviously,
because it made me feel uncomfortable. Like, I was waiting for you to like say something, because I hated everyone making these assumptions about you and Joe. Yeah.
So obviously, and these guys were right to do so. Everyone got made redundant. So a few people went on socials and was like, I'm looking for a new job. Absolutely fine. Like, they need to look out for their best interests.
Of course.
I get that. It was more so the comments of people making assumptions, like you said, and coming up with their own stories about what happened. And we wanted to post a video as a pro-action rather than a reaction to those videos.
Yeah.
So we waited about 7 or 8 days until we posted our
That's a lesson
response.
learned.
So we waited 7 or 8 days. So for those 7 or 8 days, people thought me and Joe were horrible bosses. We were the worst people in the world. We'd made everyone redundant to maximize our profits. That we'd dissolve the company to make loads of money and then just F off. And like people were saying, they've got no stock on the website, so they must be gone bust. And so like a few assumptions were right, but a lot of the assumptions were like character assassination, but also like just like you could argue like defamation, really, like just really nasty things to read about yourself. And then like I was saying to you before, like you start to believe all these things, right? Like people say all these things about you, and you like you're in your own head so much, and you're like, oh, am I that? Oh, did I do that?
And going through that, you're like probably a little bit weaker than you normally would be.
100%. Like I'm not like I'm quite an extrinsic person. Like extrovert. I'm not an introvert. But like that week just made like, oh, my confidence was rock bottom, right? And like just like I didn't want to leave the house. I wasn't exercising
because it's just an extra thing that you don't need. Like going through what you went through is enough.
Yeah.
Like you don't need other people telling you what's happened and who you are, and it's just a whole other thing that most business owners don't need to deal with when they're going through that.
I get it. And also, but I always try and take the other perspective as well, right? Where it's like Lux Collective's success came on social media by putting ourselves out there. So the cost of putting ourselves out there is, if something like this happens, we've got to take accountability and responsibility for this. Yeah. We can't control what people comment about us, but we can control about what we say. So then we put our announcement out there, and because we've been fighting for the last 18 months just to keep the company alive, to keep all these people in jobs, to make sure that we're fulfilling customers' needs, all that sort of stuff, we forgot how many people we've inspired along the way. We forgot how many people have gone on to do amazing opportunities who've left the company from starting at Lux Collective.
Yeah.
How many followers we built on social media, like how we pioneered the pre-loved luxury industry in the UK, how we grew market share in such a quick period of time, that when we put our announcement out, like we didn't know how it was going to go. Like we were really, really nervous. And then luckily, or not luckily, but like
it was deserved.
It was nice to see that across the 3 platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn, it got like 7 million impressions. Yeah. They got tens of thousands of positive comments. Yeah. That you forget that this is how many people actually believe in you or like you or have something positive to say about you. So that obviously makes it feel better, but negativity always hits more than positivity.
It feels louder.
So hard to diminish those negative comments.
It definitely feels louder. And what was that kind of, just moving into what's happened of recent, what was that like, that kind of like, I don't know how long you would have been anticipating it, but maybe like a year to 6 months to a year? Yeah,
so we moved into our new big warehouse, which was amazing, like custom made, like we built it. It was just beautiful. But there was like, because that put a lot of cost pressures on the business, it started to show cracks within the business. So within the first few months of moving into that big unit, in retrospect, looking back now, we shouldn't have done. We should have saved all the cash we had, and we should have operated out of a smaller unit or a one that was not so high spec. Like these are all lessons, right? But we had to make our first round of redundancies, and that was really tough because I've never had to do that before. All I've ever done was hire, grow the business as fast as possible. So going through the first round of redundancies is horrible. And whilst we were going through the first round of redundancies, about a week or 2 later, we had the break-in. So then when the break-in happened, we had to go through another round of redundancies, and we had to ask the whole staff that was left to take a 20% pay cut for 3 months while we figured everything out, because we couldn't afford to pay people. We still had these high costs of the business, of the operations, of the logistics.
How long was you anticipating having that conversation with your staff?
That we were going to close down the business completely?
Yeah.
For about 9 months. So
God, that makes my hair stand. But like I've been in situations where I've been scared.
Yeah.
And I just can't imagine like going through that
So
for 9 months.
it would have been quicker. It probably would have been about 3 months if it wasn't for TikTok Shop. So TikTok Shop came around and we were doing TikTok Lives. We became like the world's biggest seller on Pre-Loved Luxury for TikTok Lives. And that we did about...
Another thing that you pioneered, by the way. No one else, like, you were selling like $5,000 Chanel bags on TikTok Shop.
Yeah, we did one for 15 grand as well.
That is crazy. And I remember when I come to your TikTok Shop live in the office, they were saying that they've got like a 5K limit, but you're like pushing them to go even higher.
Yeah. So they eventually did.
Yeah.
But like we did 2.5 million USD in 12 months. So we never did that. But when people...
And you were the first people to do that.
Yeah, for sure. But when people hear that, they're like, why couldn't you keep the business going? You made 2.5 million in 12 months. Like, surely that's enough to keep the business going. But obviously people don't understand the costs
Overheads,
and all sorts of stuff like that. Like, revenue is a great number to shout about.
Yeah.
But
what do they say?
Revenue is
vanity.
Yeah,
profit is sanity.
Yeah. And we had no sanity.
The entrepreneurial path is never linear. It can be as simple as a side hustle or a multi-million-dollar fundraiser. However, you can always trust in Shopify to have your back at every stage. My brand Odd Muse has seen incredible growth over the last 5 years, and everything has changed about my business apart from Shopify, making everything easy from day one. From building your own website with no need to code to analysing data and so much more. Shopify makes building a global empire possible, powering the next generation of entrepreneurs and worldwide brands. Dreaming and doing is both possible. Check how you can build something long-lasting at shopify.com/Aimee.
So, yeah, the breaking happened. So the way our business works is like we either have loads of cash or loads of stock. So at that moment in time, we had loads of stock. So when the breaking happened, we had about £1 million worth of stock. They robbed about £550,000 worth of stock.
So over 50% of your stock.
Yeah, absolutely. And then because we were stock heavy and we weren't cash heavy, we had to take out loads of finance to be able to buy more stock so that we could sell more stock. But when we needed finance overnight to keep the business running and to pay people in the business and all the overheads, we had to take out expensive finance that was a quick payback rate. So it was basically every day we were paying back money, like based off what sales we were doing. But because we needed cash back in the business really fast, we were putting on sales all the time. So like 10% off, 20% off, 30% off, all this sort of stuff. And quickly the finances catch up and you're looking at your account and you've got nothing in your account. You've got hardly any stock and you're like, shit, what do we do now? So we had to make another round of redundancies and like the culture of internally of the business. And I don't blame anyone for this internally.
I know.
If this happens to a business and you're coming into a business like this every day, it's going to be so tough for you as an individual to be like, do I want to work here? Do I believe what the founders are saying is to be true? Because they're saying one thing, but the company's doing another. And like the culture just got really damaged. And that's Man and Joe's fault for not being able to manage it accordingly.
But again, this goes back to what we was even talking about receiving hate on TikTok. How are you supposed to know how to deal with that?
That's another thing as well. It's like the hate on TikTok puts pressure internally on the employees because they're like, do I want to work for a company that is getting this amount of hate on social media? Yeah. So like it causes all sorts of issues and problems that you can never foresee until it happens, right? Yeah. So like So when the breaking happened, we knew we had 9 months until we ran out of cash. So then TikTok, it was about 6 months, and then TikTok helped us a little bit get over the line a little bit more. And then it got to Christmas, and we were like, something dramatic has to happen, otherwise we're out of cash by March, April, something like that. And obviously, in a business that like is just buying and selling every single day, it's hard for something dramatic to happen. Like there's not like 1,000 Neverfulls where if you do a campaign around Neverfulls and it goes really well, you're going to sell out of them and you're going to raise loads of capital to invest back in the business. It's not like that. So like when the hard stuff started to happen, it started to show cracks within the business model of our scale, with no investment, with it being bootstrapped, with no capital behind us. And it just, like I was saying before, it got really tough and our passion for it dwindled. So it was like...
Well, it takes the fun out of it. It's hard to feel passionate when something's so stressful.
Yeah, it takes it out of you. massively. And also on top of all that, being the face of it all is like Joe dealt with different pressures with the finances. I wouldn't look at the finances. Joe did all that sort of stuff. So that's a pressure. But then having to see what the world is saying about you and your business, I dealt with that sort of pressure. So we were both so much pressure on our shoulders, and then by the end of it we were just like,
so it sounds like you spent like a good 9 months just being super reactive. What could get us through to when was the conversation where you sat down with Joe and just said like, we're doing this?
So that's really interesting, because there's two conversations. So there was one that I sat down with Joe and I said, look, I think we just need to call it a day. And that was in about...
And that was you that said that?
Yeah.
I would have thought it was Joe.
No, so I was...
That would have sat you down.
Well, because like I was having to do the socials every day and the marketing every day, I was just like, we're not making a dent here. Like, we're literally just keeping our heads above water. Probably not even that. Like, our heads are just below water, trying to keep it above. And like, it was so stressful. And I'm more emotional than Joe, so I feel stuff.
Are you
really.
an Aries?
Yeah. So I feel stuff a lot more than Joe.
Yeah.
Whereas Joe's more logical. So it was in about October time, or September, October time, and I was just like to Joe, let's just call it a day. Like, let's just fold. Let's just put the business into liquidation. Let's just do that. But Joe's got a kid on the way, right? So we were like, Joe, more logical thinking, but also more pressures from a different point of view. He was like, no, let's keep this going. We're getting better. We're doing okay. We're recovering a little bit. We weren't. He was just trying to justify it to himself.
Yeah.
So then he persuaded me to keep on going. He was like, I'm not giving up. I'm not doing this for 7 years and just turning it off. I'm not giving up. Him and me are both super competitive. So like, he was trying to pull that string on me. So and it worked. So we carried on. And then like, when he could see it from a logical point of view with the finances really running out of money, in about April time, the beginning of April, we were like, the end of March, beginning of April, it was around my birthday, we were like, yeah, we had a big bill coming from trade finance. We were like, there's no way we're going to be able to pay this. We have to go into liquidation. And like, having those conversations whilst also trying to pretend to your team and your staff that everything's okay.
Yeah, I can't even imagine that. Like, you said something about coming to an Aimee shoot.
Yeah.
And doing styling, but knowing everything that was going on, like, that makes me feel awful.
Yeah, so
like,
we did a shoot with your guys, and they used our bags, and I took a member of my team down, and like, trying to, like, they were like, your team were asking me questions about the business, and in front of a new member of staff, I was like, I have to. I can't lie. But
yeah, it's so difficult. That's what it is. Like, you're not. That's not in your character to hide anything.
Yeah.
But like, in that moment, you have to.
Yeah.
Because you don't owe anyone an explanation right now. But also, you've got a responsibility of, having a staff member there and like having to be cordial about that.
Mm-hmm. But also, going back to the two conversations, I'm so grateful that Joe managed to persuade me to do those last 6 months, because Stephen Bartlett always says there's a difference between giving up and quitting. And I felt like in that first phase when I went to Joe, it was me giving up. But then actually the things we went through with another Black Friday, trying to raise more capital, the tough conversations we had to have with our CFO, with our senior leadership team, the tough conversation we had to have with employees, the different tactics and strategies we were trying to come up with to create or to keep the business from surviving, or to keep the business surviving. I wouldn't have gone through all that if Joe never persuaded me to keep going. And then by the time we had no choice, we weren't giving up, we were just quitting. We knew it was the right time to quit, and we knew it was the right time to move on to something else. And I don't feel like we gave up. I feel like we gave 110% to keep the business going. And the fact that we couldn't keep it going wasn't down to us being bad. It wasn't down to us not having it in us. It was just, this wasn't the right business for us. We learned so much along the way,
and you achieved so much,
and we achieved so much, which we forget, and we're only reminded when people like you and other people we've met along the way tell us of how, and all the people who comment and message us such nice things, telling us how much they're going to miss the company and all that sort of stuff. Like, that's when it really hits home of, oh shit, we did really pioneer something and did create something amazing that a lot of people at 25 years old can't say they've done. And that's not to be like, oh, they haven't done it. It's just been like, Ben, look at what you've actually achieved. Because I feel like on the days that I'm not doing anything at the moment, trying to sort out my next moves and stuff like that, I do find myself in like a rut of being like, oh, you're so you're so shit. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, just talking negatively to yourself because you've got no evidence to tell yourself that what you've done is good. So it's just nice to hear it from other people, really.
And that's why it's really important to just be nice, guys. I want to touch on Stephen Bartlett, actually, and what it was like working with him. And because I feel like we have both sort of spoken to him and we both have quite positive things to say about him. So talk me through about going on Dragon's Den and like working with Stephen a little bit closer.
Yeah, for sure. So I love Stephen. I think he's amazing.
I think he's great.
It's crazy how many people have bad things to say about him. Like it's
Wild.
Exactly the same as how you get.
But I said this to you earlier.
Socials.
He texted me last week and just said to me, I don't use TikTok. It's a distraction. Like you're just not going to get anywhere on there. Like it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
And I deleted it from my work phone. I've hired a content editor to come with me everywhere, edit some content for me and post that one video. Yeah. And it's just the pivot that I've had in like the last week just from having that from him. Yeah. Is so important. But yeah, I don't understand. Like, but again, he's like one of the most successful podcasters. So
he's probably like the most successful entrepreneur or front-facing entrepreneur ever. in the UK, 100% for sure. So like exactly, I always say this to people. Like in the UK, it's tall poppy syndrome. Like as soon as someone rises above the rest of the poppies, they like to cut them down. And that's exactly what happens with him. It looks like it was happening with you last week. It was happening with me when we were talking about our business. It just happens to people who have done something that is not normal, that is in a positive, successful way. But Stephen is like, he's always on the other end of the phone whenever you need something.
Always. And you said that to me because I don't know if you in some ways spoke. I don't know how he got in touch with me, but you'd said something about Shane or someone that you speak to in his team. And then literally like maybe a day after that, he had messaged me on Instagram, like, this is my number. Send me a long voice note of everything that's going on right now and I'm going to help you. And this was when I was like really just overwhelmed and stressed about just it was like a busy time at work. And you said to me there and then, you said if he can't answer your question, he's going to put you in touch with someone who can. Yeah. And he always does that.
Yeah, he just wants other people to do well. He wants other people with good intentions to do well. Yeah. And there's never been a time where I've needed something from him and he's not delivered.
Same.
He's and the amount of stuff that he must have going on, and most of the time he gets back to me within the same minute on his WhatsApp. It's crazy. Yeah. But I'm so grateful to because that was the main reason why we wanted to go on Dragon's Den. I just wanted to get in front of Stephen.
Yeah, I'm like, to
have him a part of my network.
I was so excited for you that you was going to meet Stephen.
But like he really is as good as everyone who knows him says he is. And his team, I've made really good friends. Probably one of my best friends down in London that I never would have met if it wasn't for him, because he's a part of Stephen's team. And it's just people like that you need in your life, like to grow, to want to achieve more, to be able to speak to people who have similarities to you. Like, it's so important. But yeah, I'm so grateful for that. But Dragon's Den was so fun, man. It was like one of the best experiences I've done with Lux Collective, because it was just going on national TV telling the whole UK of how successful you've been and how much success you want to create it in the future. And I would advise every single small business to apply for Dragon's Den if you can keep up with it in the back end, because we got like 1 million people on the site that week. Really? Just by going on TV. And even if you don't get an investment, it's worth going on it for the marketing and for the
But even
the
that in
content
itself,
you can do after
like,
it.
how much prep did that take?
Yeah, it was a long time.
How on earth did you convince Joe to do that?
Yeah, I know. It was like back and forth with the production. So we were the first shooting of Dragon's Den as well. So we'd applied. There's a story, like they reached out to us, we applied. They reached out to us, we applied. There was back and forth for ages, but we applied just at the back end of when they were filming season 20. So we were on season 21. So we were the first to film in season 21. So there was all that time that we had to go back and forth with them. Because I know a lot of people who have just like gone on it the next day when they've been rung up to be asked to go on it. So like it was such a long wait. But yeah, it was, like I said, it was one of the most fun experiences I've done.
And of course you got that long-standing relationship.
Oh yeah, for sure.
With Stephen, which is invaluable.
And also, I want to make sure that I say this publicly, that when we were going through our liquidation, Stephen couldn't have been more supportive. Like, he was texting me I wasn't texting him. He was texting me every single day, making sure I was okay, giving me the best ways to address certain situations, helping me on my public announcement. On the BAFTA red carpet, he got asked about us and he said something lovely about me personally, Joe, and our families. Like, yeah, he's a really special person.
Yeah, he is. What a guy. We love Stephen. Let me see if I've got any more questions. Okay, so I want to talk on how has stepping away from Lux Collective affected your sense of identity? Yeah,
that was the word I was going to use. So like, I've been doing Lux Collective since 2018.
Yeah.
And so that's like, what, 7 years? So I was still in sixth form at the time I started the brand. And then I actually knew social media was going to be massive for the brand. Obviously it's massive, but for Lux Collective. But I didn't have the confidence to go in front of the camera or to create content. So I actually hired like a freelance host for me. I would script videos. I'd get this girl to do them for us. And like, that was in like 2018. You can see those videos back in the day. It's amazing. And like, the speed at which we needed to create content, we couldn't get this freelance person in to do it that quick. So I was like, oh, you know what? I'm just going to do it.
I always say this, like, when I'm on shoots and stuff, you're always going to be the most agile person.
Yeah.
You can get me doing a 14-hour shoot. I'll do it for Muse.
Yeah, 100%. So like, I was like, okay, if I want to take my business seriously, I need to take social media seriously. It's only me and Joe in the business. I'm just gonna have to do it. Joe's not gonna do it. I'm just gonna have to do it. So like, from that moment, like, obviously your business is your identity, whether you're in front of the camera or not. But I think it puts even more pressure and more sense of identity, because whenever someone sees you in the street, it's not like, oh, there's Ben Gallagher, the owner of Luxe Collective. It's like, oh, there's the Lux guy who talks about luxury fashion.
Yeah.
So like, and then on top of that, we started to get billions and billions of views, and like, you just become the content, you become the brand. So like, my identity was it was all I ever spoke about to my friends and family. It was all I ever thought. Like, you know this, like, it's all you ever think about. It's the first thing you think about when you wake up in the morning, and the last thing you think about when you go to bed. Everything on your phone, your camera roll, your social media accounts, it's all it's all Lux Collective.
All Odd Muse.
Yeah, yours is all Odd Muse. Mine was always my business, Lux Collective. Whenever you're speaking with my brother, when I was speaking with my brother, at whether it was just walking the dogs, whether it was going out for a coffee, whether it was going on a run, it was just Lux Collective, Lux Collective. It was all we ever spoke about, all you ever think about, all people associate you with. And like, that to switch off overnight it's tough, because you attach your worth to how much people value the brand, and if the brand doesn't exist anymore, then your worth doesn't exist anymore, right? So I'm still in that transition period of trying to figure out how to feel different about the situation.
But I would say about 2 years ago, I feel like I had an identity crisis. I was like, I don't know what my interests are outside of Odd Muse. I don't want to have a conversation with anyone if it's not Odd Muse. And that's not from a selfish point of view. That's just all I have time for. And I had to spend so much time like refinding who I was, and even like rediscovering the fact that I like horses. Like, I did not know what I liked outside of Odd Muse. And one thing that really helped me is diversifying what I do. So and not really telling people about it. So since then, I've flipped my first property with Josh, and I've started doing so many other things in business that people don't know about. And it helps me because I don't just feel like that odd muse girl, but also there's no pressure because no one really knows what else I'm doing and they don't need to know.
Yeah.
Odd Muse is the only business that I'll be front facing on. And I think diversifying, I feel like this is obviously like a massive next step for you. But that really helped me because you discover who else you are and how much your experience and what you've done over the years is a head start to everything else you can do. What are the next steps for you?
So like since we made the announcement, I was telling you guys before, like there's been so many people who have reached out to us with like amazing opportunities, some not so amazing opportunities, but like it's just people.
But a lot of people understand that you are an asset, and the people that maybe aren't offering the best opportunities are maybe just trying to.
Oh, a lot of people want something for nothing, right?
Yeah. But they know that they need you and your expertise are very valuable.
And we're in a vulnerable spot, so like.
People are going to try their luck.
Even the good deals are probably not as good as they could have been maybe a year, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But we understand that, and we understand that like we can't be too picky, but we need to make sure that we're picking the right decision. So like since Lux Collective has gone into liquidation, we had to buy our assets back off the liquidators.
Yeah,
so
this is crazy.
I don't want to say how much, but we had to spend 6 figures. Is that right? Six figures on getting our assets back. So basically retaining ownership of the social media accounts, our customer list and our domains. So we had to spend 6 figures on retaining them. We also... Wait, I've just lost my train of thought. So we had to spend 6 figures on retaining the assets. So we knew that we were going to use these assets in the next venture, whether that was going to be doing something on our own, whether it was going to do consultancy, whether it was going to be doing freelancing. But we've kind of come to a decision in this last week. So me and Joe, and I need to make this decision based off Joe's best interest as well. Obviously, he's got a kid coming next month, the 18th of July. It's his first kid. It puts a different kind of pressure onto him. So we have to think about each other when we're making our next decision. One of the things we always wanted to do was, and I don't want to say what it is, but it's another startup, which I don't think we can do right now. And I don't want it to feel like a reaction to an event that's happened. Oh, we're only doing this because Lux Collective has gone into liquidation. I wanted it to feel more like a pro action of it being like, we know we want to do this. We're going to deliver something amazing to the market and we're going full steam ahead. But because Joe's got the kids on the way, it adds a different sort of pressure. I don't want to have, I want us to have the best chance of success with that startup.
Are you happy that you took that risk years ago when you and Joe didn't have those responsibilities?
Yeah, 100%.
I always think like before like life really starts like that, it is a good time to launch a business, and it will be hard because you're young and you don't know what you're doing necessarily.
100%.
But it's the most character building experience.
But even still, like me and Joe are still so young, 25 and 30. The only thing is he has more responsibilities in a sense of he's got a kid on the way, he's got a house, so he's got a mortgage. So his relationship with risk is slightly different to mine.
Yeah.
And I have to understand and acknowledge that when we're choosing what we're doing next. However, in saying that, we have had so many amazing opportunities from companies not in the UK who want to come into the UK. So we actually just got our contract through yesterday. I'm not allowed to say the brand publicly, but basically we know our skill sets in the pre-love luxury industry, right? And social media. So we've been approached, or I actually approached them because we have a long-standing relationship with them. We know who each other are. So they're a company in the States. They're the biggest company in the world for pre-love luxury goods. And I reached out to them being like, look, this is our situation. We would love to help you launch in the UK. So they've never launched outside of the US before.
Yeah.
They do about $500 million in revenue. So about 50 times the size Lux Collective were. And me and Joe are going to be launching and opening their first UK base.
That's amazing.
Which we spoke to so many companies but
it takes someone to be able to go what you've gone through and be like, right, this is my skill set. I'm going to approach this company. I'm going to approach this company. Like, you've bounced back and realised like how valuable you are.
For sure, but we learned that that's our skill set by the stuff that we failed on that that led to the end of Lux Collective.
100%.
Like, I need to understand that social media and storytelling and building narratives around brands and people and products, that's my skill set. That's what I need to concentrate and focus fully on.
Yeah.
Whereas being a CEO and a business owner, when you're also trying to do all of that, is so tough.
Yeah.
That I need to let someone who's amazing at that run that.
Yeah.
But as the founder of a business, you think you know best all the time.
Yeah.
So like when stuff...
And also things just happen fast. Like all of a sudden you're wearing a new hat and it's like, oh, we might need that.
Exactly. So where you have the luxury of being able to, okay, I'll step into this company for however long, and I'm going to make clear to them, and they already know that this is my skill set.
Yeah.
I don't want to be involved in anything else. And they're so supportive and giving us so much freedom and giving us so much... leaving us to our own devices, because they were in the same situation as us. They've been going for 25 years now. Yeah. So like, I'm just, cause I also knew that if we started another startup, it would just be like Lux Collective, in a sense of it's just another startup we're doing. Whereas doing this for however long I do it for, I'll be learning so much more different things that I haven't learned in the past.
It sounds like such an interesting opportunity, but it also comes without the stress of running a business.
Yeah.
And I think you just deserve that moment for a sec.
Yeah.
What won't you miss?
Do you know what? I always...
Like, as a business owner, what won't you miss? I could tell you some things that I wouldn't miss.
So I always said this, and I shouldn't have said this to myself because it was just negative talk publicly and about myself. I always said that I wasn't a great leader. But...
I always say that to myself.
But when the company was going well, everyone wanted to work for Lux Collective. Everyone who worked at Lux Collective loved it.
Yeah.
We were pioneering, like, people were proud to be a part of Lux Collective. And then when things started to go bad, I started to internalize it all, being like, oh, it's all my fault. And like, although you do have to take accountability.
But you do have to be like a different kind of person to be able to be going through that and like not care about what it means for other people.
So when things are going really well, you can be really pally with your team. You can go on nights out with them. You can treat them to things that you can do. But when things are going bad, it's so hard to do that stuff.
Yeah.
And energy and culture changes. And I won't miss the turbulence of trying to maintain a positive culture. Like, that was a really hard thing for me to try and do, because me and Joe wanted to be friends with everyone.
Yeah.
But like, in trying to do that, it actually made things worse.
Yeah.
So I won't miss that. I won't miss, because our business was so cash flow focused, because we were buying and selling every single day, I won't miss the stress on cash flow. Yeah. What else won't I miss? I won't miss the massive unit we built that we didn't even end up using half of it in the end. That's a massive mistake that we have learned from. I will miss the hot tap in the office, though.
You told me about this.
It was amazing. It was the best addition to it.
You can get yourself a hot tap.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you don't realise how much of a luxury it isn't, and then you go back to a kettle and you're like, oh. What else won't I miss? Oh, do you know what I do really miss, though? It's like, I really miss the 14-hour days, the 16-hour days. Like, I really miss that right now, because at the moment, all I'm doing is going and playing paddle and then sitting on the couch watching Netflix all day at the moment, because...
But like, it's a moment in your... Yeah.
I am
just
told
try
this,
and enjoy that.
Yeah, it's like, I won't get this situation. Hopefully I won't have this situation again where I'm doing nothing for 2-3 months. So just enjoy it. But like,
enjoy it.
I am missing like the 12, 14, 16-hour days that I used to put in and come home and feel so accomplished, being like, oh, I've put in so much work today.
If it's been a good 14-hour day, you can't beat that.
Yeah.
But if it's been a bad one, it's a bit hard.
Maybe it's just like, not knowing what you've lost until you've lost it, and like, looking back at it in fondness when actually they're the toughest times. But I just miss miss being productive and growing something, because we were like, in the last year of Lux Collective, we weren't productive. We weren't growing.
It was just sort of like putting out fires.
We were just surviving.
Yeah.
You know, like we were putting out fires, not every day, every hour.
Yeah.
So like it just became so stressful that it just became so tough, and the added pressure of being in public. But yeah, you live and you learn. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And the next step for you is so exciting.
Yeah.
And you should be really excited.
Yeah, I think I've always wanted to do some sort of work in another country. So flying to and from the States is really attractive. Is why I wanted to take the opportunity. It's really attractive and it's really incentivizing to why I want to do this. And just, being introduced to new cultures, a new way of working, having to report to somebody I'm looking forward to, because the people, the CEO, the CFO, the CMO that we've been speaking to of this company, they're just so knowledgeable. Like I've learned so much just by doing Zoom calls with them. So like imagine what it's going to be like spending the next couple of years with them. Like I'm really excited for it. Yeah,
and if you're back and forth to New York, Josh can get that paddle rematch in. For the listeners, Ben and Joe did actually thrash Josh at paddle. Right, we're ending on a little segment called Muse now. It's just like fun little quick fire questions. Best and worst bag to invest your money in?
Oh, so people will obviously go, invest in a Birkin or Kelly, but like for the average person, that's never going to happen. Like who has £10,000 just to splash on a bag? So I would say anything Louis Vuitton, really. So like, it's not like an investment in a sense of you'll make money, but you'll buy it, you'll wear it for 5-10 years, and you'll be able to get the same amount of money back for it when you come to sell it. And then
worst, I wonder if we'll say the same thing.
Worst one is anything Bottega.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Yeah, just because you've got like your Anthropologie dupes.
Yeah.
You've got even like the likes of like Ego and stuff like that, where like people are making the exact same looking bags as Bottega because they can do.
Wait, I need to speak about this. How did Ego get away with that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, I get ads and they're using like Chanel logos and like, how is that?
Yeah, I think what happens is they do it until they get away with it, and then all they do is get a cease and desist,
and then they just take it off site.
That's what I imagine they do. Do you send many cease and desist to people who copy your stuff?
No, we don't really know the process, and it's just...
You believe your quality is better, so you don't care.
We have started sending cease and desist to people who use our content.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like scam sites that have like photos of me.
Yeah.
And they're selling like I actually bought our whole resort collection for 80 quid off this site, off a photo of me. It never come.
Yeah.
But we send cease and desist, but all they do is like change the Shopify name and redo, because it's all through ads. They don't actually have a Instagram page.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of work, but we are constantly on it. But other than that, we don't do anything. Just because in fashion, there's so many ways around it. If they're using a different composition or they've changed anything slightly, like it's really, really difficult.
Because like there's the myth of like if you change 7 things, then it's But that's a myth. People think it's true, right?
Yeah.
But like it is along that premise of like you can just change a few things and it's original. Yeah.
And we used to always call out brands and stuff like that, but now.
It just gives them a platform, right?
I am kind of standing on that, we did that first. And like a lot of the time, if a brand copies us, they're not going to, you can never be successful if you're waiting for someone else's next step.
Yeah, that's what I always felt like with content that we made. So like I wouldn't call people out for it, but I would be like, oh my God, like Hypebeast have copied our content. This is amazing. Do you know what I mean? Like, because content and product's different, right? But like, I was always under the impression that like, if we're leading this, and they're always going to be second, right?
Yeah.
So like exactly how you said, if you're leading the way in the designs and composition, whatever it is, like you're always going to be ahead.
Funnily enough, with us now, it's more like small independent startups that copy us. And I just don't think it's fair to like call people out on that. But it's more so like if I was like their consultant or their mentor, I would just outright say like, this is too like obvious and you're not going to be successful. You need to have your own mission and your own like product.
Identity,
So yeah, that's where we're kind of with that.
But why are you on the Bottega? Why do you find it hard to...
Because they're so expensive and you don't get that resale. Like I'm not going to sell any of my bags, but I do like to be like, well, if I like to know that they're there if I do need to. And between like, a Birkin and Chanel and stuff like and Louis Vuitton, like it's exactly what you say.
What do you think about this whole thing of people like Lydia Millen and Bethany Frankel getting rid of all their luxury bags? Because you have a lot of luxury bags as well, right?
Yeah.
But did you see the whole campaign of their getting rid of them?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're maybe at like just a different time in their life. Like, I don't doubt that I might have a day where I'm just like, I'm only using one bag, like sell the rest of them. But for me, going into I have loved fashion so much. So I always speak on like all the bags I collect and stuff. It's like, this is like my dream. Like, I'm a collector of these things, and it's never ever for vanity. Like, I've got friends that are like, have got quite good guys that get them like fake stuff, and they're so open about it, and they'll be like, I don't know why you spend all that money, and I'll have like this vintage Chanel bag, and I'm like, but no, I know when this went down the runway, I know who was the creative director at this time, and I've wanted this bag forever. And for me, that's what it's about. And I've really, it's a real hobby of mine. Like, I love it. I love bags, I love watches. I just think the luxury market, the same way you probably feel about it, is so interesting.
How do you feel about like fake culture?
What's fake culture?
So like people wearing fake bags and buying fake bags.
I think it's really interesting. Like, there's a real like influencers will like post the pages that I don't understand that. There's a lot of influencers that will like be open about wearing fake and like tag the page where they got it from. I don't know really. I just feel like if you want to wear that, that's absolutely fine. It's different for everyone. Like, my friend, for example, who doesn't value luxury, she buys fake.
Yeah.
If you don't value it and you'd rather something in every colour, then that's fine. It is down to what interests you.
That's so true. I agree. Yeah.
But for me, I like it's just something that I've always wanted to do.
I think it's when people call out people for wearing fakes in a negative way, but also it happens the other way. People who wear fakes are like being derogatory towards people who buy real, being like, oh, they're wasting their money, or why would they spend their money on that sort of stuff?
I would never ever judge anyone for wearing fake. I don't necessarily like the idea of like buying fake and showing off as real.
Yeah.
I just feel like that's just like, no.
I think any sane person is under the impression of what we've just discussed it in that way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's not nice when people. I think it's just judging people, right? As long as you're judging them in a positive way, then.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting. Sometimes when I buy a new bag, I kind of want to like unbox it and like do all that thing because I love it so much.
It's a whole experience, right?
But then I'm like, I don't want to seem like I'm showing off.
Yeah.
So I don't really like show too much of what I have.
Yeah.
I remember when you were there posting Lux Collective, I was like, oh no.
You should have told me to take it down.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Because it was the start of a series
but then
I was going to do.
All you did was go through my Instagram and just screenshot like different outfits where I'm wearing my bags and stuff. But yeah, I just think for me, it's just something that I've always wanted to do, and I get a real kick out of it.
Yeah.
Like, I love luxury fashion, and it's just like a dream to be able to invest in it. And I don't take it for granted. I don't do it for vanity. It is literally just for me, and I share them with all my friends, and it's just, yeah. So yeah, I think I've got one more question.
You got the quickfire ones, right?
Yeah, these are the quickfire ones,
okay.
But we just don't stop chatting. Let's keep it these ones quick fire.
Okay.
Is there a luxury item that just gives you the ick? Quick fire.
Oh, that's like I'm
gonna think of one.
Maybe like Le Bouton heels.
Yeah.
I just
feel like
I think they've had their day.
Yeah. I don't see many of them though.
I think there's nicer heels from like those Gucci heels that you had.
Yeah, I've had to have them resold like 9 times.
I bought them for my girlfriend because they're just so nice, and I saw them on you first. Yeah, probably Le Bouton heels.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what mine is. I don't really know. I love all bags.
What gives you the ick? Maybe mini bags now.
Yeah.
Mini bags, they were so popular because of Jacques Mus, right?
Yeah.
And then every other brand copied, and then it was like.
Oh, I don't know. I've got the tiny little mini Speedy that I use every summer.
No, I love
much.
anything Louis Vuitton.
I love that Jacques Mus bought that back.
Yeah. Louis Vuitton can't do any wrong, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I really like them. They're my favourite brand for sure. Maybe, and I actually have one of these, and I'm looking to sell it because I can't sell it through my company at the moment. luxury backpacks. So I have a luxury backpack. I have a Louis Vuitton bag, but I've swapped it for a Chinese brand bag that I'm wearing today there. And I just love that bag so much. It's perfect. And I'm like, why
backpack's got to be like
why
functional.
did I ever wear a backpack though? I know, but like it is functional, but like a branded one, especially with logos all over it, it's just a bit icky.
I just don't know what my ick would be. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. There was another question about Stephen, but we've touched on that. So that's it.
All right, good stuff.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. I feel like we just chatted so much.
I know, yeah. I'll come back anytime.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'll be excited for like the next chapter.
Are you going to do one in New York? Because you've got loads of friends in New York that you
we're gonna do pod muse in New York because there's some there's actually a really cool bag brand in New York called Freya.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about them then.
Yeah. She's really, really cool. Jenny, who owns it, I want her on the pod.
Yeah. And
there's some really interesting. I feel like if you come to New York, you'll meet loads of interesting people.
The one who does Heaven Mayhem.
Yes, Pia.
You get her on.
Yeah.
There's loads of people. There's so much more.
There's some really good influences in New York. Like the creator space in New York is insane.
Really?
Like it's insane.
It's like a London times 10, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah. But thank you so much for coming on.
No worries. Thank you for having me.